Fantastic. When you're coming in, drop me a quick line where you're coming in from. Give a quick shout out. Always interesting to hear, see, and kind of get where everyone is coming in from. Always interesting. My name is Julian. I'm in Singapore. Feels like Groundhog Day. It's Sunday, 10 p.m. Long day today. I've been in the office. I could sleep here at the moment. There's a lot of deadlines approaching, and yeah, a lot of work. Trust me. But we're gonna have. Well, for those of you that are following this stuff, we had an update on Comet today. Actually, really good. First atomic swaps out Bitcoin, Ethereum. Fantastic. I know many of you are waiting for some other announcements. Looking good. So yeah, need to prepare these things and get these things out. So that's yeah, not something that's going to happen overnight, but we're quite confident. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Today, different topic. I want to talk about different use cases of blockchain as promised, and I want to talk a bit about transparency. This is a completely different use case because we're not talking so much about ownership, which is the kind of use case we have with cryptocurrencies, but this is the use case of being able to trust a community that what a transparent ledger says is what is happening. And so let's just divide this a bit in 5 different categories, and let's start with the problem first, right? Always remember, you need to start with the problem in mind and create a solution afterwards. So let's start with the problem first. No matter whether we're talking about logistics, let's say containers, diamonds, any type of shipment, even when we talk about logistics of people, like for example CVs, right? Curriculum vitae, where did you go to school? What kind of education do you have? Titles, degrees. All these things are very centralized. And with this comes a lot of trust in these different types of centralization systems. They are very easy to cheat. You can fake a lot of stuff, and so you have to trust all these things. And so let's talk about a potential solution for this. And a potential solution would be that you have different stops along the way of a life cycle of something. This could be a life cycle of a product, could be the life cycle of a human being. And you have timestamps, and these positions then sign or stamp that something passed them. And so the more trustworthy this signature of one person becomes, the more trust this specific signature actually has in the entire community. And so the more of these valuable signatures a product or something that goes through this life cycle has, the more credible it is. So yes, one stop is centralized. So basically, let's talk about a diamond, right? If a diamond gets produced, and let's say there's different life cycles in this diamond and different steps. This is the mine, this is where it goes out, this is a certification of some agency that verifies that this is not a blood diamond, then you have some kind of trader, you have an import-export stuff. So you have all these different kind of signatures. If there's just one, then of course this completely centralized and can be faked. But let's say there's 35, right? And these 35 are all very trustworthy and they're completely independent. It's really unlikely that all 35 cheat on this diamond. The same is with, let's say, an education system. I go through probably 20 CVs a day, and this is what I get from our recruiters, and this is for hiring people at 10x. So, well, it's so difficult sometimes to verify the education of these people, right? I've gone to, like this person says, I've gone to Harvard, I've gone to Princeton, I've done this. Well, so what do we have to do? Call all these universities and verify all this? You know how much work this is? Well, what you could do is, you could have an entire education life cycle of logistics. And every exam even could have a stamp, every university. And so to fake this, it would take 20 years to fake for a human being that's 20 years old, right? Think about this, how powerful such a system would be. There's a lot of basically use cases there. Let's move over to the third thing, which are challenges in this entire process, right? Challenges is, as many times, it's you need to move, if a chicken and egg situation. If you don't have the stampers in there who stamp the logistics, then it's difficult to have use cases in there. So it's a chicken and egg, and you need to convince some big players to move in there. And actually a couple of logistic companies actually starting to do this. And I'm telling you, I think logistics could be the next large use case actually of a blockchain, because you don't deal as much with this real world, virtual world interaction, and you can decentralize the trust by having different kinds of stampers or signing the processes along the way. Let's talk about alternatives side of the challenges. Now, obviously, such a system can stay centralized as well. You don't need to use a blockchain. And this is a valid concern to say, well, why would we need a blockchain to use that, right? So that's something that's, really a relevant challenge. And this brings me to the last point. These are a couple of real examples that are actually being tested. I have friends here from DGX in Singapore, and they store gold, but what they're really doing is they're having a logistics blockchain for this gold token to be created. And large companies, I mean, even IBM and so on, are testing these things and are working on logistic blockchains, our transparency blockchains. These are huge, huge, huge use cases. And if you are an entrepreneur in this space, you should definitely pay attention because there's a lot of applications all around the world. And I would start, if I was in this kind of niche, and I'm not, but if I was in this niche, right, then I would start in a very small niche and get a proof of concept or get a small use case there. Maybe you can, let's say you want to do something with education. Then you want to do this maybe with one university or maybe in just your school, right? And it's actually not that difficult to set up. You could do this quite fast. And you would just have to convince a couple of people. In logistics, I mean, so many products need a logistics chain, right? Have some kind of value chain getting pushed down. And you could do this in your space. And then you could start scaling. And you could start this really, really cheap, actually. And you could raise money. And then you could start scaling from there. And this is definitely something that I see that's going to be huge. It uses a different advantage of a blockchain, or kind of a different advantage. The interesting thing, obviously, of these blockchains is they don't need to be completely decentralized. It's also interesting, simply because the ownership is not as relevant. But, and this is obviously important, the question is, if they are not completely decentralized, then why not make them centralized and just make them distributed databases? You could do the same thing. So these are just a couple of things that you need to kind of pay attention, especially because logistic blockchains probably are not going to have that many challenges on scalability and on speed, because let's say a diamond doesn't have to be updated every millisecond. It's probably okay if it gets updated every day or something, right? So these are interesting kind of concepts that you could be thinking about. But so definite problem, right? It's going to put a lot of auditing firms, for example, out of business. A blockchain like this is going to attack huge industries. So keep this in mind. Very straightforward solution. Yes, there's some challenges, but especially if smart people, hopefully like you, start working on those, this can be very interesting. And yeah, I think the alternatives are always there, but you can see already how many companies are actually working in this space. So definitely an interesting use case. Let me know in the comments below if you're actually working in this space or if you are planning on doing something in this space. Definitely interesting. If you have questions, let me know. And I will post a couple of really good links in a pinned comment, and I'll update this pinned comment. So check this out for books or for references or for details, because there's definitely some good stuff in there. Actually, I actually written a book myself. Check it out down below that I talk about this a little bit. So definitely interesting. So with this, enjoy your Sunday wherever you are. I still got a lot of stuff to do. I should get a bed in here, to be honest. And yeah, just sleep here. So otherwise, all the best in the meantime. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Sunday. Subscribe to the channel, please. Share this very valuable stuff. We need to get more smart people, entrepreneurs, value creators in this ecosystem. Get crypto fit here. Get crypto fit. And I'll see you at the next video. Yours truly, Julian. Bye-bye.